So you guys may notice there's a couple of things on the desk there for you.
Yes.
From now on, we're turning over a new leaf.
Okay.
Well, that's actually a present for you, Nick. So, but we'll get to that.
So this is...
What I'm talking about is the bell and the skull.
Yes.
yes.
From now on, we're turning over a new leaf. We're going full PC, right? The bell, you got to ring it whenever somebody says something offensive. Because I for one, am sick of editing out whenever you guys are really sexist.
Oh, right, yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry about
All
that.
that misogyny, yeah.
And the classism.
Yeah.
The skull is the skull of...
Destiny.
And if any one of your feelings get hurt, you just hold up the skull and we just move on. Nick's already holding it up.
Let's move on.
Yeah. So James, you got your leg pissed on last night.
You got what?
Ah, mate, so we were at the pub, just had a couple.
Not even in a fun way. It wasn't a woman that did it.
No, it wasn't a golden shower. So, so yesterday I was at the pub, I had a couple, and then I was just having a wee in the urinal.
Yeah.
And then some pisshead just Moses on up next to me, he's talking absolute bollocks. Harrison is pretending to, just trying to cut through the awkward silence.
Was you there too?
Yeah.
I was 2 cubicles away. No, urinals.
Yeah.
And we were
because
talking,
we had
and
the
then,
correct spacing.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
he stood right next to me.
What, he middled you?
Yeah. Well, he middled me to his mate, and then I was just like, this is annoying. And then slowly, I just felt all the splashback all on my leg.
No.
And I was just like, so I just after he left, I just went to the sink and then
Threw up.
he was washing his leg in the pub sink, and then this old guy came in, and I thought you pissed on your own leg. So I was like, he's pissed on his leg, and the bloke went, oh right then, and then just went,
Yeah, like that's a completely normal thing. Anything in a Wetherspoon's like a bit weird would just be like normal for them.
oh absolutely.
No,
They
you
also
know the
found-
moral of that story is
What?
don't piss in urinals. They're disgusting. I always go in the cubicle.
Well, they are,
Yeah,
but
it makes sense.
once you've had a few drinks,
Nah.
No,
Rule
that makes
number
sense.
one, always go
Although,
in the cubicle.
as I was cleaning my leg, one of the security popo was walking around and then, just checking whatever thing looks like.
Oh, I know. So
He
they won't
radioed
know
in.
you know what's going on in there.
Yeah,
Hey,
he
hey.
radioed in and I had a peep in because they found something. It was a tourniquet for heroin. So someone was like shooting up in the toilets, mate.
nice pub, and we saw our old. We'll get to the podcast, but we saw our old mate from school, Gooch. And well, he's a very unfortunate man because he was born with a micro penis. Sadly,
really?
He also has the appearance of a frog.
Okay.
Because his eyes are very much nearly on the side of his head, and his name's Gutierrez, so everyone called him Gooch.
Gooch. Are you sure he's not like highly evolved? He might be the next stage
Well,
of
actually,
humankind.
he might be because he went over to one of the
Slot machines.
Yeah.
and won £100.
Well, there you go then.
So he's blessed.
Chosen blessed one.
So he was born with a lot of hindrances, but he's got the edge of being able to win.
He's got luck.
He's got the gambling edge.
Yeah.
Good old Gooch. Anyway, should we? I was going to say play a game.
Oh, hello.
Fucking.
You all right?
Maybe it's some sort of wacky character. Come join.
Hopefully, yeah.
Guys, it's the PDF pirate.
Not that.
Hello and welcome to the 3T RPG podcast, episode 101.
LOL.
Because the 101 looks like LOL.
Yeah.
We're doing comedy games today.
Okay.
But with me is James Clunk
Hello, people.
and Slick Man Meat.
Hello.
Yes, who's back?
With a brand new
fake fuck.
face.
Yeah.
So, today we're going to be doing what you've been slaying.
Yeah.
We talk about what we've been playing. We're going to be doing the main subject, which is how to run a funny game. Shut up, though. And then we're going to do some electro letters where we look at your questions of the week.
Yeah.
Are you excited for those things?
Yeah.
I'm not doing feedback or news today because some problems arised where I was alone with the baby all last week.
Yep.
And he does not want me to do any work on
He
this.
sucked all the time.
He has
out
sucked.
Of you.
He's a vampire. But anyway, right, let's get into what we've been slaying.
And it's one of these.
Oi! Yeah? What you slaying? Just need to get their notes up on my phone. You can see I'm very professionally inclined. So, we've been playing Root, the Powered by the Apocalypse game about woodland creatures in political situations. Well, there's not much really to report, but we did end the game. Basically, the whole thing was about their town was attacked by one of the two armies. There's two armies in there. There's one, the Aryan dynasty, who were like racist birds, essentially. And then there was the Marquis de Cat, which is a more inclusive army run by a cat lady. Anyway, their town was attacked, and then they suspected that actually the leaders of the town, who were the Aryan dynasty, had orchestrated the attack for maybe insurance reasons or to give them a reason to attack the Marquisate, something like this. And the whole thing, they basically took the mayor of their town prisoner, and the whole campaign was basically based around them transporting him to the Marquisate and trying to hand them in for some reward.
Yep.
Because they're like, this guy's attacked our town.
How was the treatment of him?
Not good.
Okay.
I mean,
it was pretty bad.
I knew this was
it was
coming.
very bad. I mean,
Well, we had to sneak him out. We were in the brothel at the time.
he's one of the
Oh,
most
right, yeah.
famous people in the woodland, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
so they kind of had to disguise him in some way.
Disguised him as a
Beat him
hoe.
up beyond recognition, or
That was part of it.
Well, yeah, but we disguised him as a hoe, basically.
as
because-
a what? A hoe?
Yeah, because where they found
not the
him was
gardening.
in a brothel, right? So they decided to confront him in a brothel, and then a big fight happened, and then afterwards they captured him, right? And they put like
Makeup on him.
and sexy clothes.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to tie his beak up because he was a crow, so they wanted to tie his beak up so that he couldn't talk.
Yeah.
And one of the players was just like, right, I'm going to just look around, see if I can find a cummy rag on the floor. Yeah, it was pretty gross. But yeah, eventually they transported him there. But the leader, the Marquisate, she was like, well, I can't take him unless you've got some proof. Otherwise, I'm committing a war crime here, basically.
Yeah.
It took a lot of convincing, to be honest.
Took a lot of convincing, and then, basically, long story short, is that James's brother was playing with us, and he had forgery as one of his things. So
Okay.
he forged like a note saying that the attack was orchestrated by the Aryan dynasty.
Yeah.
And then that was the end of the game.
Wow, go on,
because
Chris.
there was going to be this whole thing where they had to do a heist to go and get the paperwork.
Yeah.
But he
But
forged
he knocked it up.
We sat in court. We had to play out a court scene.
Yeah.
And then Chris
I
just
love
went.
a court scene in a
Yeah, I'm just
game.
going to roll this and see if it's
Slop
successful. And then he smashed it.
Because everyone was doing their like statements and things like this, then Chris was just like, I have the note right here, and I was
Your
like,
Honour!
he rolled pretty well, but it was a mixed success to end the game
Okay.
on. So for now, as far as they're concerned, these guys are war heroes. They've been given a house and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But as for how long that note is going to keep them
is
out
open.
of trouble, yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's where we ended the campaign. It was only a 3-episode mini.
Very good. Yes, that's right.
You planned for it to be a 5, but a 3.
Well, to be
Your
free-
brother,
free
brother,
tasty.
he fucked it up.
You fucked it right out by doing well.
He done
Yeah.
too good.
You've done too good. Now it's fucked.
Yeah, and it was a very fun mini campaign. And that's going to be the prologue to me running a
full
whole
one.
one because
Excellent.
it's a very, very fun game.
Yeah, and it uses the Powered by the Apocalypse
It does.
mechanics. Yeah?
It does in very well as well.
Yeah.
Like so, you kind of got like. That if you're a certain animal, it doesn't really matter what like your abilities are inherent, so you don't
Yeah.
get the abilities on your sheet. It's just assume that beavers can choose.
Oh,
stuff,
okay. Birds
crows
can fly. Yeah, wicked.
So, but yeah, ultimately, probably the best part about it is these roguish talents. So
Yeah.
you kind of get like each person has unique abilities that are because you kind of play thieves and rogues and things.
Oh,
like
so it's
this.
a fantasy game.
Yes,
bound in
but no
fantasy.
magic. So it's
Okay,
like
right,
a
yeah.
Dark Ages animal.
Yeah.
But it's like it's more based on fables and things like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
It's
nice.
very good. And so the roguish talents, you kind of have these things that you can use your finesse to do. So it might be lock picking, climbing, things like this. And each guy has different shit. If you want to use one and you don't have it, you have to rely on luck. So you need a much higher roll to do it, and you need to roll luck. And yeah, that had some quite hilarious consequences. But one of the great things was there was this the leader of the mercenaries that attacked their town to begin with. they had a kind of rivalry going with him. And there was this bear that was in the woods who was wearing just an iron helmet called Iron Face. And he was a wanted criminal who was like robbing people left, right and centre. These guys killed him, got the helmet, but then they got in a scuffle with the leader of the mercenaries in a pub and lost the fucking helmet. So when they turn up to hand in this, they lead one of their mayor, Wigfirth, when they turn up, they're like, they see the fucking mercenary leader standing there and he's like, I'm glad I could be of service to the Marquisate, and he's handing over the helmet and he's saying like, he takes loads of fucking money because he was like, oh, I killed him, you know. So
we were well pissed off, so I tried to rob him. I did actually rob him in the end.
What, pickpocket?
Yeah.
pulled his trousers down.
Yeah. Oh, I did that. I actually managed to do that 3 times in the campaign.
Or pull his trousers down?
No,
pull various people's trousers down.
Because he used pickpocketing to take his belt off.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
Was it just like a bit of cord and just pulled the nut?
And like he, at this time, he was taking credit for the kill that they did. And then suddenly James just, whoop, his trousers come down and the guy just went, oh dear.
Pantaloons on the show. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's really good.
It was fun. So what was the kind of vibe? Was it a funny game? Was it a serious game? Was it a mixture?
High political, so...
A lot of political, a lot of
the
diplomacy.
Middle of it was pure serious. I'd
Okay,
say.
excellent.
So the main vibe was that it's... Because it's... Like the animals are kind of stand-ins for people's characters.
Yep.
So if somebody's a crow, you know that they're really lascivious and
But also
things.
intelligent, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of thing. So it was serious, but throughout the campaign, like a lot of funny stuff just happened.
Yeah. Well, naturally organic.
Yeah.
Comedy. Yeah.
I mean,
What
the cum
about,
rag was a low.
Fighting.
So the
Combat heavy?
fighting is really you don't roll initiative. It's the GM kind of does a spotlight, and you get 2 things. It's like hard and soft moves. So a soft move, for example, when they were fighting the bear, would be he's running at you with his claws out, right? And then a hard move is you failed. You're now going to take damage.
Right.
So it's things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the combat is not the focus at all, but it does it perfectly well in a cinematic way.
Games, you know?
Yeah.
I like games that don't like. I don't get me wrong. I love a heavy combat game when it's geared up for that, but also a game where it's not is equally as fun in different ways. So,
that's what was good about this. Like we were saying, we wouldn't use it for dungeon crawling.
Yeah,
but
sure.
for a political game,
absolutely, espionage and stuff like that. Yeah, it sounds awesome. I like that, and that kind of that people playing. You know what I mean? When it's different, like kind of. Opinions and you're kind of I don't know that
I think
is
it helps
fun.
you get into the
social
world a little
conflict
bit more,
and stuff. Yeah, wicked.
But you know, it's like it was the tone of it is quite serious, but it's got this cartoony exterior which is really cute, and I really like it.
I like it too.
But the thing is, when it came to the names, so you kind of have weird names like for example there's like Harry, Wigfirth, like things like this.
Yeah.
And so all the guys picked names. Sean was called Smedge, James was called Trastian because he was a raccoon, so it's like Tristian, but and then James's brother was an owl called Gandowl.
That's good.
Gandowl. But yeah, that was Root. It was very, very good, and I can't wait to do a full campaign. Now, ages ago, we talked about Savage Pathfinder on the podcast.
Yes, we did.
It was something that nobody really has ever asked for, but nonetheless, it's good. It's good. CJ very kindly sent it to us, and it's like one of those things where it's really good at emulating the feel of Pathfinder.
Is it homebrew or official?
It's official.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But look, things over at Paizo are not
Ain't
going
great.
well.
No. They turn into Sega.
They've come with their hands cupped to Shane Hensley,
Cap off,
and they're asking for a bit of help.
He's chugging gasoline, looking at them.
He's
laughing.
chucking gasoline. The Pathfinder guys are like, look, we've got all this cool art you can use. It'll cost.
Busted shoes, holes in their jackets.
Yeah, and they've had to like bunk it on a train like a hobo.
Yeah. Oh dear.
But nonetheless, the actual product is amazing. It looks beautiful, and we've played one session of Savage Pathfinder so far. So the biggest thing, obviously, is that now it's got classes in it, which isn't really the usual thing in Savage Worlds.
Yeah,
but,
true. Yeah.
It kind of you pick your race and your class, and you get a bunch of abilities right off the bat.
It's mental.
Oh, okay, nice.
And you know, like in Pathfinder, where as you level up, you get
in, or
it has.
right. Okay, sorry.
We'll get into that.
Yep.
But as you level up, your character unlocks more things, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah, because
in
it's
this,
like the,
it's
like
done.
Pathfinder. Yeah.
The way it's done is that once you get to veteran,
Yeah.
you unlock automatically unlock a new thing. Once you get to seasoned and all that,
Very
and then
nice.
you start with a bunch of abilities.
Yeah.
James is playing a barbarian, so you started with quite a lot.
Sound like you.
Well, yeah, exactly. I like to play different stuff.
Good.
Especially as it's Pathfinder.
Yeah.
I've never really played a barbaric character.
No, you're always a rogue, ain't you?
Rogue is my go-to
Yeah,
for Pathfinder,
yeah.
so I thought, nah.
Oh, good for you, mate. Nice. How's it feel?
Oh, it's fucking sick,
Well, because
mate.
he's got the rage thing, right?
Yeah.
So in Pathfinder, it's like you start out a barbarian, you can rage once a day, then twice a day, and all of this, right? But the way it works now is that whenever James goes into a rage, he gets a level of fatigue,
Okay.
but he gets all these benefits. But
Yes,
every attack he
mad
does
benefits.
has to be a wild attack, so he makes himself more vulnerable. But he's absolutely
That
furious.
also
Yeah,
means
love
if
it.
I crit fail, then I randomly attack anyone.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that's
Like
right.
innocent
Yeah.
bystander.
Yeah, so I could be in melee with him,
Yeah.
and he's just got a mental. And he's just
swings
Yeah.
And I could roll big and cut his head off by accident.
Yes.
Excellent.
Which
Wow,
would be
you're like
fitting.
you're like a fucking hair trigger.
Yeah.
So I'm playing a rogue,
Yep.
and so I get like bonuses to sneak, and I got so if I get the drop on somebody, I not only do I get +4 to attack and damage, I also get to add a d6 to the damage,
yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Which can explode.
Yes, yeah. So they're really deadly.
Yeah.
However, I'm only playing rogue because we had to pick a class. I'm actually playing their torchbearer, so I get like 1 copper piece a week from these
we
guys
have a really
to hold
fun.
the torch.
We have a really fun sort of hierarchy in how our
Who else we
characters
got
have
then?
been made. So it's me, JT, and H in the campaign at the minute.
So
And
JT's playing a human fighter, and he's essentially, if we all come from the same town, or at least we live there currently, and his fighter is like a neighbourhood support officer.
Yep.
So he's
yeah,
like,
he's like PCO plod, mate.
yeah, he's got no real power.
Yeah.
James
What's
is
going on here then?
James's character is the sole policeman in the town.
Right.
So
And you're a mental barbarian.
Yeah, but so it's hilarious. I'm a dwarf, right? So I'll get the penalty to pace, but then because I'm a barbarian, I get the enhanced pace. Therefore, I'm
So
really
he's a
fucking
dwarf with a
nimble.
pace of 9.
What?
Yeah, mate. I'm so tiny, but I'm like,
His tiny legs can carry
You're
him.
like a
very-
whippet.
like he's quicker than me.
Wicked.
What was funny? So James is the leader.
Yeah.
Then James Tomasson, the PC plod,
Yeah.
he reports to him. But then he hired me, so I report to him.
Oh
and
my
so we
currently,
talk through each
I'm
other.
feeling a bit of a guards vibe here from
it's a lot like that.
Terry. Was it Terry Pratchett? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny though? Is that like so now I can't speak to James directly. I have to go through him. even if he's standing right there, I'll be like, so James's character went to the door of the mayor's house and was swinging his ceremonial flail around because it's like custom within dwarf barbarians.
Yeah.
It's a ceremonial thing, and I'm like, it's a ceremonial thing, but people might not understand. And then James looks at James Tomasson's character and goes, "Could you ask him what he's going on about?"
What do you sound like?
Yeah, I'm Scottish. No, I'm actually. It's like quite a calm one. It's like,
Okay.
Can you ask him what he's talking about?
He's really menacing because he's like, if you don't back off, I'm going to cut your fucking head off, mate.
Calm down, you wee little fuck.
Yeah. So
Nice.
it's like I've gone for non-gruff, but it means that
But
like I
even
said,
more
menacing.
terrifying. Yeah. It's like the Northern Irish accent, right? It's like no matter how they say anything, it's always a bit scary. Are you sure?
I don't know about that. Thighs and pine.
Thighs and
Thighs and
pine.
pine.
But fucking, so yeah, it's a really cool dynamic, and essentially the plot of the game is that we used to live in harmony with goblins. They invented all of this shit for us and all of that, and then suddenly they've gone mental,
Yeah.
and we don't know why. So we're going to investigate that. But
Interesting.
one very funny thing happened. So I built my character to be non-combat, or I'm
Yeah.
more of a. Literally the torchbearer. I can repair shoes. I can hold a torch. That's what I do. But
And you do it well.
during we were fighting some goblins in the woods, and then I fucking tried to throw sand into one of their eyes. So I do a whole pocket sand.
Yeah.
And as it happened, we had a random playlist of fantasy music on Spotify, and then the Lord of the Rings music came on as I was doing it. I went, right, pocket sand, like this, and then the music came on. Da, 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 da. I stood up and went, pocket sand! It was, and I was like, after I did it, I was like, I'm getting a bit emotional with this. Like, does things to me, man.
Yeah.
So one other thing I'd like to comment about the campaign and the setup, right? So Sean, packed a suitcase.
I saw the photograph.
So people
Over-preparer.
may remember my brother. He's been on this podcast quite a lot, and he was annoying because he called me up saying, "Oh, like, can I borrow a suitcase for the game? Like, I don't have enough room for everything." And I was like, Sean, if you're packing a suitcase, I can tell you right now you've got too much. And he said, yeah, like, I'll probably just bring what I need next time. And I was like, well, so you know then you're bringing stuff
Too
you
much.
don't need,
Yeah.
like, categorically. Good. But like, so then he realised that the suitcase I gave him wasn't big enough, and he bought a suitcase that you could take on maybe like a 4-week holiday.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was
We're
full.
talking like 50 litre,
So I don't know.
60 litre.
It's a big wanker.
We didn't-
Massive.
Actually, wait. I think I took a photo of it, but it's
What's in there?
So he's got his, yeah, you'll see.
What the? I mean, it's very organised. Don't get me wrong. It's pleasing on the eye. What
Well-
are them little boxes got inside?
Minis.
Minis.
So he's
Millions of
organised all his
minis.
minis into little boxes, but he didn't take the ones he needed. He just took the entire shelving unit and put it into the bag. He's a mental guy, and he didn't use any
He's
of
a
it.
maniac.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
The whole session was theatre of the mind.
right at the end, I said to him, I was like, Sean, I was going to be a dick in the middle of the game, but now we've ended. It's fine. I was like, can't wait to use their minis, eh? And he was just like, oh yeah, well, yeah.
I sort of didn't need him this time, but like,
I just thought I'd bring my entire back catalogue of minis.
And what was funny as well, we played at our friend Tobuscus's house, right?
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
while we were there, I revealed to him that Sean had called me in the week when he was talking about it, kept calling it a gaming suitcase, which really annoyed me. But I was talking to him about it midweek, and he was like, "Do you reckon Tobuscus will mind if I leave the suitcase at his for the duration of the campaign?" And I was like, "Sean, you can't ask him that. That's insane. Have you seen the fucking size of the thing?
Yeah, it's a 1-bed flat, mate.
It's
in
a
the
1-bed
block.
Take
flat."
up his whole bedroom.
Well, exactly, especially because Tobuscus is like 1 foot tall.
He could sleep in it though.
Yeah, he could.
No,
But all
not
the
with
he'd
all
have to
that
take the
stuff in
minis
it.
out.
Oh yeah, that's the point. Oh,
You can sleep in one of the mini boxes.
But anyway, I told Tobuscus about this, and at the end of the game, Tobuscus was
pissed,
drunk,
yeah.
and he was
He was
just
cool
like,
with it.
"Sean, you can leave that here if you wouldn't." And I was like, "Are you fucking mad?"
I mean, he's done him a solid to let him to do that, but I'm not sure it's fair to have it for the whole campaign because
It's like that's going to be a 6-month commitment to have something that's bigger than the man that even owns the house.
Sean,
He's going to
mate,
be
just
walking around.
sort
He's
him
going
out.
to trip over it.
I've got to be honest though, it was nice playing at his flat because he allowed us to smoke inside.
Oh,
So I was smoking fags whilst playing a game, which
Wow.
was lovely.
At the table.
that
It's
is nice. Well, you was drinking, gaming, and smoking at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is the
It's
dream.
the ultimate
and he
combination.
has,
the dream,
he has
yeah.
one of them windows that opens up like a fucking door.
Oh,
so it's
amazing.
huge. I mean, it's top floor almost. You could probably die easily, but it opens so wide. It
But
was really
safety
nice.
aside, it's really handy.
Just don't butter the floor near the window, and you'll be
because you're
fine.
gone. Yeah.
But we went over to the window during the break, and there was a guy. We were 4 floors up, right? And there was a guy down on the street below walking along with a pizza, and I just said, and this was the volume at which I said it. I just went pizza like that. There's no way he would have heard, but James was like, "Shut up!"
And then I
It's not even offensive.
and then
I
I
know
hid,
it's so stupid.
and then I
Shut
hid behind a see-through window.
Yeah, he backed off ever so slightly. And
Okay,
I was just
yeah.
like, "How is he going to hear that?"
Step back. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
good times. But yeah, Savage Pathfinder so far is very, very good.
Thumbs up.
I want
Yes, it's getting 2 thumbs
Two
up,
big
like the
thumbs up.
thumbs.
Excellent fun.
It's getting
mini thumbs up.
but
that means a lot.
it's very good, and so far the main mechanics, like we've got a lot of new edges in there,
Yeah.
which I can't remember, but the classes thing is very good. But bear in mind, we created characters, then played a bit, so we haven't played.
So I was
much
session
of it
0,
yet.
yeah. And also Sean being Sean, the amazing GM that he is, I'm sure that you've got some animals coming to destroy you.
Oh, we will soon.
That's what's in the suitcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with us. It's just all animals.
Yeah, it's
Well, I'm surprised that when we went into the woodlands, we fought goblins, not animals.
that's true.
For those that don't know, Sean always kills his PCs with animals in his game for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, always.
Like the hardest fight during TMNT was when we fought 2 moose.
Oh, yes. But his
And
fucking...
a bear. We had a bear in that game. Do you
The
remember?
goblins were pretty deadly, though.
In Call of Cthulhu, somebody killed us with a crow. Oh yeah, the goblins
Hellhounds.
were deadly. What was funny as well, and this is the last thing I'll mention about the game, was that Tobuscus, right? He's playing a fighter, but he's good with ranged weapons. And right at the beginning of the fight, he goes, right. So it says here the maximum range for my bow is 48, right? And he thought that means feet, but in Savage Worlds, obviously, it means squares, right?
Squares, yeah.
So it got to the battle, and Sean was like, Sean said to him, he was like, and I didn't mean to be a rules lawyer, but I was for a bit
You
by
got some
accident.
time.
But I said, Sean's, Tobuscus goes, right, can I make it there this turn? And my pace is 6, and Sean's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, it's only 42 squares away. But it made it pretty funny because he then for the rest of the combat, he was just trying to get to us while pinging off shots from his bow. But it was like,
He was like, I'll get there in a few turns.
Give me a minute, boys.
It's like-
I'm on the way.
each one was a multi-action, and then he was at -4 because he was like over 48 fucking squares away, and then it was like, so he didn't hit, so he was just pinging random shots into the woods whilst trying to run to us. It was very funny. But yeah, he's learnt his fucking lesson.
There you go.
Pay attention.
Attention.
That Savage Pathfinder, we'll probably have more to talk about next time. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a quick recommendation to a Nintendo Switch game.
Oh, please.
Now, I don't know, things have moved on a lot from Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
These games, you can now play videoed games
Right.
on the TV.
What?
I know.
What?
But yeah, I've been playing a game called Voice of Cards, which is the worst name for a game ever. But
Yeah, because what would the voice of cards sound like? Yeah.
So this is by a game designer called Yoko Taro, who made a really great game called
Yoko Tarot card.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's
Sorry.
Yoko Taro card. But he is responsible for a game called Nier Automata, if anybody knows that. But
No,
anyway,
what's that?
A very weird PS4 game that
Okay.
is probably one of the best games ever made. So
Nice.
I've seen that he's made an RPG, and it's essentially like a tabletop RPG, all completely card based that you play on your Switch.
Cool. Yeah.
The graphics are really minimal, so it's like there'll be a card on the table that represents a shop,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you move your little piece over to it.
Okay.
And then you have cards for all your attacks, and you roll dice in the game as well. So
Nice.
you roll like D20s to hit, D6s, things like this.
But virtually.
And it's essentially, exactly. And the whole thing is supposed to be like playing a session of a tabletop RPG. So.
Does it hold up?
Yes, and the cool thing is, so instead of having voice actors for all the characters and things like this all it is like you have
Like Microsoft Sam talking to you.
no, you have music, and then you have a narrator in Japanese who says everything. So instead of the woman talking, it'd be like the woman walks up and she says the following. So it really,
much
really
easier.
emulates that
Okay.
feel,
Nice.
and it gets around the problem of terrible voice acting.
Voice of Cards, the Isle of Dragon, the Isle Dragon Rules.
So there are two versions of it. Isle Dragon Roars is much more serious. The next one is much weirder, which I can't remember. It's called like the Maiden something, but that's the one I've
The
been playing.
Forsaken Maiden.
Yes, so that's the one I've been playing, and it's a lot less serious than the original.
Yeah,
but
it's
it
9
depends
out of
what
10
you
on
want.
Steam, out of 10 on Nintendo Life. Yes, got
It's
really good
very,
scores.
very, very
I'll
good.
Be checking
Fucking
that
look at
out.
the
mate.
third search.
Pretty Girls Speed. So yeah, James has just looked it up on the Nintendo Shop. I can highly recommend it. I got it on sale,
Yeah.
so just maybe put it in your wish list.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a very, very good game. It's
I'll
very
pick that
minimal, but it's like it really gets you into the atmosphere because it relies on the writing and like the cool voice acting
Very
from
nice.
the one guy.
Yeah,
that does it.
yeah.
It's very, very good.
I was playing a little game like that the other day. It was completely. I actually got it up on my phone, completely browser based, all black screen with text and a few little like, just making decisions and moving on. But it was really, really fun. I love them little
like
games,
used to
little dungeon
love
crawls.
sort of the old school games like text-based games.
Yeah,
because with
me
the black
too.
screen, it had such good atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I used to play a lot of those types of games on Amiga, but yeah, this one is kind of similar. Like it looks nice and it's got a nice presentation, which is good. But yeah, it's like turbo atmospheric, and
it's been made really well.
Yeah, and like a lot of the moves and the way you customize your characters. I spent most of it playing. There's a mini game that you can play in a pub where you're playing this sort of monster based card game against NPCs, and I spent most of the time doing that because it is incredibly fun.
Fantastic.
But yeah, it's a good game.
Voice of Cards, check
Voice
it out.
of
I will,
Cards.
but yeah, I'm going to put it on my wish list.
Yeah,
Good
I've just done it, and then the other one you can get, not the one you're playing, the
Forsaken Maiden.
the
Isle Dragon
Isle of
Roars.
Dragons.
there's demo available.
Oh,
Yeah,
Excellent.
so I played the demo, and that's what led me to buying
So
it.
I've just
It's
clicked.
well
I've just
fucking
clicked the button, so when I get home, it'll be there.
Ooh,
sexy
good
time.
idea. Oh, I'll do that.
Also, very, very quickly, this is completely un-RPG related, but I've been playing Shadowverse card game on my phone, and it's actually quite good.
What's that?
It's like a trading card game that you play on your phone,
Right.
but I want people to play with, so add me on
Just about
Apple
to do
or on there. So, my name is Bloke Chan, so
Shadowverse, yeah?
yeah, it's well good anime card game. But yeah, it's very good. James signed up last night, and he was drunk, and he put his name down as something. Well, I can't remember what it was, but it was like Wank Fondler, and it actually let him put his name in his
Tobuscus.
No, James Clark.
Oh, this one.
Him over there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
He's like Wank Hand or something like this.
Fuck.
But anyway, yeah, Shadowverse, come and play with me. My name's Bloke Chan, or in game, my name is Ham Doctor. I don't know which one you need to.
Can I have Dr. Punchenstein?
You can have. That was almost going to be my name.
I love that.
But I went for Ham Doctor because I thought it sounded rude, but wasn't.
We could be the doctors.
We're the
do a doctor based. Oh, you've already done it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. It's either doctors or wanks. Anyway, that is it for what we've been playing. Oh, James has just sent me a friend request. Yes!
He's in.
I'll accept that live so listeners can enjoy that. Shall we do the main subject?
Yes.
I think it's time.
Yes.
Main. Subject. Magic. Main. Subject. Tokyo. Main. Subject.
All right, so comedy. Comedy in games, right? I mean, I think we're on our 101st episode.
Yes.
And I think we have established very well that we are not funny.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
But we are going to tell you how to be funny,
Like we know.
like we know.
Yeah.
Which isn't going to be funny.
Knock, knock.
Who dat?
Interrupting cow.
What did you say?
Moo. I almost fucked up there as well. So, I've got a lot of opinions on comedy games, and I think that the reason we wanted to do this sort of topic is because I feel as if there is a huge misunderstanding of how to do comedy in games. People overstepping the mark, maybe a little bit, getting a bit offensive. You know, I'm looking at you, Nick.
Yeah.
But and also, I also feel like there are some techniques you need to do in order to run a decent comedy game and have it remain funny.
Yes.
But also, I just think we need to talk about putting comedy. I think any game should have lighter moments of levity because it's really important because you don't want to just be serious the whole time. And you know, Vampire, for example, was a semi-serious campaign, but there's some of the funniest things I've ever seen happened in that game.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think that's why we wanted to discuss it today. Also because episode 101 looks like LOL. Lol. Our original idea, Nick, was that we were going to listen to all the old episodes and sort of correct all the mistakes in the old opinions. And
That should be like an end of year special.
well, the trouble is, I tried to listen to them and I hate myself so much.
The early ones.
Yeah,
I thought I knew everything, and I don't. and it's like I'm so opinionated about certain things that I was completely wrong about, and also it's like, just
I
like
should just breathe into the mic all the time, like, yeah, Harrison, that's right.
you were so well. It's because of the compression I used as well. So not only is it bad to listen to it from an audible perspective, it's also. I was a bit of a fucking cunt. Yeah.
Well, at least you can say it. I mean, yeah, it's like if I ever pitch my podcast, our podcast to anyone, I'm always like, it's great, but watch from about episode 6.
Start from the top and go back until you get to a point where you cringe and then just stop.
Yeah.
Man, I am so sorry. I might just replace all the old files with just me going, nope.
No, you got to keep it.
All right. Well, anyway, comedy games. I played once, and you were there, Nick, as well. Do you remember Chickens in the Mist?
Oh, do I ever?
So this is I feel is the entire problem with comedy. Like, it was a funny game, it was a good laugh, but the problem is, like, when one of the biggest mistakes you can make with a comedy game is coming up with a comedy concept, right? So it's like, I don't know, for example, you might just go, okay, we're going to play D&D, but you're all clowns, or
Yeah, exactly. Whoops, sorry.
you opening Shadowverse.
I did, yeah. It's going to come out.
If you're going to play, look, you can play the
later.
tutorial.
So, okay, yeah.
But
Take
We'll
5
play it
minutes.
tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, good. Fucking. So, but the problem with that is it's like let's say for example you come up with an idea that's like, okay, we're going to play D&D, but we're all clown goblins or something like this. It's like, okay, that sounds funny.
Yeah, it does.
But the trouble is when you're playing for fucking 4 hours, right, and you get down to the nitty gritty, the initial thing where you go clown goblins, that's funny, that wears off very quickly.
Yep.
And Chickens in the Mist is a fun adventure, but it's about well, they're already bipedal, but it's about giant chickens attacking people.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is funny to read, but then as soon as you play the game and you're just going through rounds of people hitting a chicken with a shovel, it's and even now describing it, that sounds funny. But I often find that those types of games, they're not actually funny when you're there playing it. They tend to be funny after when you're describing it.
Or the premise before.
Yeah,
might
exactly.
sound
But
funny.
actually at the time, it's like, you get attacked by giant chickens, and it's like, laugh, and then it's just like, but what is this really? It's actually just a pretty boring encounter with what essentially might as well be a human with a beak.
Could be
Which is another good idea for a comedy.
Funny if it was guided chicken soup.
That kind of reminds me of Mr. Wilcox's ingenious comedy in his games when he's doing the old Saga of the Goblin Horde, where when he came to SavageCon and played it for us, and then he was saying that one of the
Nick, all of your devices.
What is going on?
one of his one of the bosses was wishing for a big cock for his wife, and then at the end of it, a large rooster comes and trashes the place.
Very
Now,
clever.
that's fucking
Double
great.
entendre.
But that was good because it was like a punchline. It was punchy, right?
Yeah,
it came out, and then it was like suddenly you see a giant rooster attack the town.
It's just like,
I guess we know what that guy was wishing for.
Yeah.
And it's
very
like,
funny.
but the funniness came right at the end. We had a good punchline, and then bam,
Really
it was
well
like,
delivered.
Yeah, it was awesome.
so
and
that's
then,
why the big chickens are reminded me of all that stuff.
but I agree. That's like. But you know what he did, right? Saga of the Goblin Horde is an inherently funny setting in a lot of ways.
Yep.
But then there are jokes made within the game. It's
Yep.
not like... Because if I said to you, if I described probably one of the best comedies ever made, if I said The Office, right? You wouldn't think that... Because the idea isn't funny.
No.
The jokes made within the series are what makes it funny.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and
yeah,
characters, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you want to run a good, funny game, don't come up with a concept that will get a laugh at the table. Just say, right, play normal D&D, but go, right, this is going to be very light on seriousness.
Yeah, there you go.
And you sit down and you just, you have fun with it.
well,
And
I
hope that
found
your players are funny, because that's also an issue.
Yeah.
Well, I found,
Yeah.
at least with us, right? I found, and we've already touched upon it. There are really easy ways, at least for our group, to make a good comedy game together, and that is to pitch a serious game because it will end up being fucking hilarious.
They always are.
Well, because you're playing a role-playing game, and sometimes your characters are rolling and failing at very basic tasks, and that is inevitably funny.
Yeah.
And then always like our
It's
quips
true.
come out, and even though it's like we know that overall we're being serious in our actions of what we need to do, but because of that seriousness, we always turn it down in specific moments.
Because it's not you, James, the player, trying to be funny.
No.
It's that funny things are happening organically to your character
Yeah.
within the game.
And
So
also
that makes-
interactions between characters will become funny just through dialogue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Because even like something as serious as, say, Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
has the moments where somebody will say something witty and it's really funny.
Well, think about on the flip side, right? Sean was playing, played us through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now that was quite obviously a silly game because it's like we're playing
It's a cartoon.
Yeah, of
characters,
course, yeah.
right? But the story behind it was deep as fuck, man.
Good.
It was proper serious, wasn't it? So
Yeah, but the situations and Vampire's another one as well. Is like we had a character. I think they're Ventru, but you know the ones that can only drink decent blood.
Oh, proper high,
And you remember there was a-
grade blood.
There was
Yeah,
a bit of
yeah.
a drought of nobles in the city
That's-
for a little
that's
bit.
right,
So he
yeah.
went to an expensive sushi restaurant and drained an entire tuna of its blood.
Yeah.
And
That was
it went all
wicked.
shriveled up, but he had to have something expensive. Like
Yeah.
that's not as good as human blood, obviously.
it's better.
But it's like at least this is expensive.
Yeah, totally.
And then, but that's a pretty funny situation because I remember he was all like gaunt and like he'd gone all white and he was just sort of sitting at the table and was like, "Just bring me some tuna." And it's like that. it's a funny situation.
Yeah.
But we weren't trying to be funny. And in fact, it's like you said, like, you've got to have good players that are funny.
Yeah.
Or at least that you all vibe on the same sense of humour.
Precisely,
Right?
It's also like I've noticed that there are certain moments. You know, I'm not sure if you. Well, you probably do it on purpose. I don't know if I'm picking up what you're putting down. But when there's like a really serious moment, or it's been a bit serious for quite a while, and then you're like describing an action that someone did in a flashback, you'd be like, oh yeah, and did that, and he slipped over on a banana peel or something like that. Just you know,
just to cut through the
you
atmosphere.
You say like something stupid happened, or he goes, oh yeah, his name's Mr. Bigglesworth the Third.
Yeah.
You know, a silly name just to lighten part of the mood, even though what we're discussing is deadly serious or something. So that kind of stuff, I think, is like really great to keep the players, you know, you
actually
have a little
engaged
laugh,
within
and
it.
then sort of like something crazy going on. Just like
Also, voicing's really good as well, right? So if you meet a character that's got a bit of a wacky voice, it's not a direct joke, but it is equally makes the atmosphere a bit funny.
Yeah, I mean that's I think the point we're trying to make is that it's like maybe don't run a full comedy game, but like pepper little bits of humour even within serious ones,
100%.
and that's probably where you get the funniest moments.
Yeah.
If everyone's trying to bloody be like Monty Python,
I was just about to say that. Absolutely. If you're trying to pitch a comedy game, all of your players are going to have this kind of preconception that they are expected to be funny all the time, and that can be quite difficult because trying to make gags constantly when you feel like you have to because
and
it's a comedy game will mean that it's shite.
Yeah, because everyone's trying to be funny. Whereas, like, you look at in Solomon Kane, like you had a character Balthazar who hated anything supernatural, then became a vampire.
Yeah,
but it was his seriousness that made it funny.
Yeah,
because I remember you sloping off at night trying to go and feed on some wildlife, and you were just like, what have I become? Killed the girl.
Yeah, it was exactly that, and I think that's what it is. You got to let it just, again, it's the same thing we're saying, just let it organically happen. Like you said, if it's going to be a bit light-hearted, then fine, but don't say, right, this has to be a comedy game, because there's too much expectation.
Yeah, and also certain people trying to be funny. I mean,
it becomes difficult when if you're like you're saying, you pitch a comedy, people expect that they have to be funny or do wacky stuff. It means that every single person is most likely going to end up being a disruptive player, because they're going to be I'm going to do that because basically I'm doing that because I'm an idiot. So he dies, but I don't care because it's funny.
I'm just going to whack this big mission that we've been doing, and we're right to the end where it's like really important and we're actually going to get what we're after. And actually, Joe, I'm just going to push the guy off the cliff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're trying to create a funny situation. It's like, no, just let it.
Not every situation has to be funny.
No, it doesn't. That's a very good point. Yeah. But speaking like that, I think that's good advice for like if you're thinking of running a comedy game. Probably don't. Run something where the characters are serious and they only do things that are within their character. But also, like, I think when we talk about a comedy-centric game, one that's supposed to be funny, con games are essentially the best way. Like, because you've got one shots and things like this.
Of course.
And like for example, the Holloway tea rooms. Which is a Tough Guys adventure. I ran it at Dragonmead, and we ended up being vastly overbooked and had like 10 players at the table. And that ended up being very funny. I mean, to be fair, it's a ridiculous situation because the whole adventure concept is about a bunch of hard men selling drugs out of a
shop.
No, it was out of a tea room.
Oh, sorry, that's the other one.
And they're like, it's like a really posh thing, and you got these hard blokes in the back and things like this. But then you find out some Turkish guys are muscling on your turf. But that was a game where it was like, well, this is supposed to be ridiculous. It's a one shot. We're playing out the mechanics. Do whatever the fuck you want. And then there's this fucking bit in it, and I remember it's one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in a game. It probably won't sound as funny when I'm describing it, but it was. They find out where the Turkish dons are, and then they see this like fence that's blocking off with 2 guards outside, and just go to drive the sandwich van through the fucking thing. But it was a dramatic task, so everyone got to take actions, and we were overbooked. I had to take one of the characters out of Whacked in the Wicket, and so we had this Shakespearean actor on top of the bus, like
just with a load of hard guys,
chuck the skull from Hamlet at somebody, and then we had like all of the other people like leaning out the window, certain people on top of the van. We had people shooting, people chucking stuff out of every window. So if you imagine like a fucking cartoon with 10 characters leaning out of a van, it was just ridiculous. And then they just ploughed in, but and I remember one of the players was playing a football hooligan, and they crashed through in the van. Fucking Shakespearean actor on the top trying to give a speech, trying to rouse everyone, and then the guy just gets out and goes, "Come and have a go if you think you're old enough." But I think that is perfectly acceptable. Within a one shot, if you try to keep up that fucking level of stupidity,
not gonna happen.
It's why my Shadowrun campaign ended after 5 episodes, because it had that sort of vibe to it, where it was very, very silly.
Yeah.
But we kept it very short, and I think that's another good tip. Is that
short and sweet if it's going to be wacky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because the wackiness will wear off. After the idea just sits there for a couple of weeks.
You get a bit frustrated as well if you're actually because obviously we all want to progress in a story as well, whether it be funny or not.
You want your characters to grow up.
Yeah, exactly that. And then if it's always constantly you might wear a bit thin, and you might actually feel like you actually want to let's actually do this fucking mission rather than being stupid with inflatable hammers.
I like all the stuff where we've had quite silly characters. They have their silly quips or their typical things. Yeah. But then they have these really, really sort of deep moments in the game where they where the rest of the players can see what they really are, in our Tough Guys campaign with Sid being he was the lowest of the low at the beginning, and everyone sort of picked on him, and he was like the roadman at the bottom, but then he's looking after his grandma, doing stuff at the
and that's
grave,
what our group likes
and everyone's
to do.
just like,
that's one of the best bits about Wise Guys, because in that particular case, we talk about players during comedy games, or where they're allowed to constantly try to be funny. They'll turn into motor hobos. But in Wise Guys, you start out with them being criminals, so it's they could easily go down that route and be absolute cunts to everybody, but then you have to have the redeeming trait. So Sydney, for example, your character in that, he's a 15-year-old roadman who thinks he's the shit, and that is, and he gets bullied by the rest of the gang. But then then you have these character depth moments, and that is a good tip. But it's if you are going to make a character that is kind of the butt of jokes or a joke in and of itself, you've got to have that little bit of depth.
100%.
But it also brings you to I think a very good tip is that if you're playing a game that is quote unquote serious, or there's supposed to be comedy elements to it, maybe downtime is when the funny stuff should be done, right?
100%.
Because the thing is, when you're on the mission, that's the serious bit.
Yeah.
When you get back, and let's say it's about, Sydney's a good example from the Tough Guys campaign. His whole thing was that he was trying to win the heart of a
trying to
girl.
woo Tiffany.
Yeah, and then but it's okay, look, when we're out on the mission, it's business, right? But when you're back, that's when things can be funny, because we're not really playing a game about gangsters at that point. We're playing a game where on a gangster's day off, where he's trying to,
and you all live in a little square, you know what I mean, in London.
It also allows you to let your hair down a bit from the seriousness,
and that will generate comedy out of itself.
Well, that's exactly. I mean, look at what happened to Sid. He smashed Tiffany's window by accident.
What about the dart? Was that game when I tried to throw a dart at the dartboard and it went straight out the window and it's something?
No,
that was a different game.
That was. You ran. I think it was. It might have been Tough Guys. I can't remember.
It was darts player, wasn't it? What was it? Oh, Mickey. It was Mickey, the darts player.
But it was on. That was during a one shot that you ran.
Yeah. That's right.
But fucking. So we had a situation. For example, they were on a mission where they were doing a stag do for the boss, wasn't it? One of the big bosses, they went over to Spain.
Yeah.
And to get because the gang wasn't doing too well at this point, they had to get a discount on the flight. So Sydney chatted up the woman, right, and that's fine.
At the flight desk.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny situation. Then you guys get a plane over to Spain, and when you get back, it's downtime. You've offered a date to this woman, but actually, you've also got a date with Tiffany on the same day in the same place.
So it was funny because I remember that we started off that session with that date because we left it. We were just like, right, we're gonna. Sorry.
And all week everyone's like, what the fuck's he gonna do?
And it was funny because you were chaperoning him with your big fat darts player, Mickey Duggar, and while you were in the fucking place, you were trying to distract one of the women while he was trying to buy a drink for one and then go over to the other. But the thing is, that was a comedy hour of a game to cut through what was not that serious, but it was what was otherwise about the business of the gang. Yeah. So we have a game where it's you guys trying to make it big in a criminal underworld, but then also the downtime. If you know your characters are going to expect funny situations, that's the time to do it. Because those were honestly out of the whole campaign my best memories were
so
during
good.
those periods. But it was only because we had the bits that were less funny. But I always remember like. And again, I'll stop just sharing memories of this campaign, but it was very funny. But I loved it when Sydney, you was on this plane with all these really hard nuts, and you guys were heading over to Spain for the stag do, and he was looking out the window going, "Let's go fucking Meadow, let's go fucking Meadow." Oh, mate, that was a fun campaign.
So good.
So, talking more about having an inherently funny game to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
If we bring up the fucking what's his name? Andy Hop.
Oh,
Low Life. So all of that is written with complete hilarity because of all the words that he's made up.
Yeah.
But it can be used in a very serious way because it's post every apocalyptic.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Yeah, it could be. I mean, again, that's another one that is.
I think it's built for one shots.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite games, and I at most I've run a 3-episode campaign arc for it.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those where you could dip in, dip out. But also, like you said, it's post-apocalyptic, so you could just make it about survival.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is very weird.
Yeah. It's more like weird than a comedy, so it kind of works.
Yeah, where you could make serious, but then it's very, very difficult to go, right, I've got this Smelf who's got all smelling based powers, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I agree.
That's an example of comedy game that's built for comedy that actually works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's because everything, the writing in it is so spectacular, and everything's got comedy baked into it.
Another good example of that would be where it's already baked in. Would be the Maid game we played, where we was a bunch of people trying to hide a dungeon.
Oh my gosh, yes,
that's hilarious. That's another good one. Like just like Low Life, a Maid is such a good game to play in short bursts as well. And I think sometimes you need it if you've just finished a real fucking serious campaign, like Deadlands, for example. But then Root is quite serious as well. But you kind of want to finish it up. Maybe play something with absolute levity for a week. Yeah. It gets out your system, and then maybe players aren't going to be doing that during your hyper serious political game. Do you know what I mean?
Precisely, yeah.
But Maid is so fucking good, man. We need to play that.
I was going to say, can we have another in between, please?
Bunch of skeletons trying to dress up a dungeon. Oh, man.
It was so good,
funny,
and that's a very good game. For those that don't, we reviewed it on episode 5 of this podcast. Don't listen to it, but it's a game where the GM plays the leader of a household, and all of the players are his maids.
That's right.
He also has a butler expansion, so Sean played a butler,
which is really good.
It's well good. It's and you don't really die, but you get more stressed as you fuck up at things.
And there's a huge random table where, for instance,
D666
shot off in a rocket.
Yes.
Yeah. That was weird, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a very weird game.
Very weird game.
But there's different modes of it. Well, we should do a re-review of it.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. We'll just go deep. Let's go deep, mate.
Do an AP and Maid.
But so I also think we should talk about comedy character. We should definitely do that. But comedy characters. Basically, don't do them.
No.
They're always, or if you're going to go, like, if you think your idea is funny, it probably is for the first session.
Yeah.
If you're playing a long ass campaign and you've done a comedy character, you will fucking get bored of it.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's like I feel like, well, at least us at the table, we can easily make a comedy character for the first session, but we know that realistically what's going to happen is they are going to change, and
they always do.
Sometimes we will plant in a character that's a bit of a silly guy, but with the intention, like the subliminal intention, for them to grow, mould, and change. Then they will be completely different by
which
the end
is
of the
interesting
campaign.
because you can see the progression. Whereas it's like
where they start taking things seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if it's like one dimensional, where it's like, oh, my character he farts when he gets nervous.
Well, I kind of said to Sean when I made the character for Savage Pathfinder, I made T Bearer is his name. He used to be T Barrister, but he had a really messy divorce, and basically, long story short, he's got his legal license taken away, so now he's just a torch bearer. So he's T Bearer.
Yeah, very good.
But the idea is kind of funny because I am literally the lowest of the low, and he knows it, and he treats himself that way as well. Like these guys were partying for his birthday in the pub, and he was outside in the rain trying to fix the wagon.
Yeah, and I did. I was kind to him, but it's like a very subtle, because it was the introduction of our characters, obviously in session 0, but it was very, very subtle.
He bought me dinner, but he didn't want to acknowledge the fact that he'd done it because he wants to. The hierarchy needs to be there, and I gave my half of my dinner to what I thought was James's horse, but it just happened to be a horse that was parked there. And I was like, "Well, I fed me dinner to a horse." But he's a character that I wanted him to be so depressing it's funny.
Yeah,
that's gonna. But ultimately, as I was saying to Sean when I came up with the idea, what I want is for him to become good throughout the course of the campaign.
See, there you
that's
go.
what I wanted to do.
Perfect example of he is a comedy
you start
character,
with an outline and you want to turn it into
but
a
you
real
know that
character,
all of his like silly depression like mode where it's hilarious.
But you get why as well, right? So you know why he's depressed. You know,
well, these two don't. They're not interested in his backstory.
No, which is great. But, and that all goes in with the whole game. But yeah, no, you need that kind of being able to change and start with something and then move.
Well, because even our good friend Ryan, who makes the stupidest characters, who often get the party into trouble. He made a character called Randy Dixon, who was
Randy Dixon.
Throughout the course of the campaign, eventually became half plane, half man.
Yep.
Had sex with an alien, dropped the egg off at a hospital and abandoned it. Felt guilty, went back, killed several nurses, and doctors. And it was at this point that he saw himself on the news on CCTV, and that was the turning point where he became serious, and he was sort of like, I don't think I can be the captain of the ship no more.
Yeah.
And he changed
gave it up. Yeah, didn't he?
But that was because his character saw it, not Ryan, because he was just like, well, he's just playing him. But it was like, in tense situations, it was serious. It was all that and that. But that was all sort of downtime or little trickles of like what's happening outside of what we're doing. It was fed to him. It's like, shit, I need to go retrieve my alien egg baby.
Kid, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, and it was a really interesting arc within the game that was just around the character. We really enjoyed it, weren't we? Yeah.
We were so invested.
My main inspiration for that campaign was Futurama as well, which is, and the whole idea behind...
That's one of my favourite campaigns of all time.
It was so good.
Hands down.
But the whole point of Futurama was that Matt Groening said he wanted to set it so far in the future that anything was possible.
Yeah,
so so it can be as stupid as he wanted. And the GURPS campaign was very similar in that regard. But once I gave you guys something to be invested in, i.e. the building of your ship, the start of your empire, there's inherently, even if you've got a stupid, like you had a fucking sushi making pet ape on board.
Yes.
But like, even with all that ridiculous shit, there are certain situations that the players are going to have to take seriously because otherwise they're going to fuck everything up. Like, getting the money.
No, Dervish. That
it was a Quizblog.
That was it.
Yeah. Loads of. But like, it was a very silly setting, right? But the whole thing is that you guys had something to be invested in. So there are situations inherently that you have to take seriously. Otherwise, you're going to lose months and months of work, which you did in the end. And actually. That was sort of Ryan's fault.
It was Ryan's fault.
But anyway, I think that's another tip is like, if you're running D&D and you're not putting the fucking gavel down and saying, look, no, trying to be wacky constantly, and all you're doing is just going in dungeons and killing monsters, well, what have the players got to be serious about?
That's right.
You know, I mean, give them something to do in the town. I know this is old fucking hat advice, but give them something to do while they're in the town, something that they can be invested in.
Yeah, totally.
Or just say, right, let's talk about your backstory. You know, like you said, there's a man after you. Let's be serious. Like, I mean, in GenLab, that's why I gave you the backstory of my character, because I was like,
man with a peg.
It gives me something. It gives you something serious to grasp onto.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like the like, say for instance, as you were mentioning, dungeon crawling all the time in D&D, it'd be a good idea, you can just slap something in just to force players into downtime and just be like, oh, you've been invited to a ball, and then it's like there's no real payoff. Maybe they get some gear, that's it, but it's just a nice reward.
Well, it could be, you as they go to the ball, you say something like, well, all the most important people in the town are here, so don't fuck this up. Something like that. And then it's
you
like,
can be like, as soon as they get in, it's a fucking phone party, and then there's just everyone having fun, and then they're forced into a situation where they have to let their hair down.
Or maybe where they go to the party and something deathly serious happens that threatens their livelihood. But I like the idea of of like snapping them out of a stupid mode as well. I mean, you can do that also by, if you're just doing a hack and slash campaign where everyone is being lol so random, you can just midway through the dungeon put something harrowing in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that was pretty brutal in Root, actually. So obviously we were aware that it was fairly political and serious, but I didn't know the depth of which it was. But in the first episode, as soon as we were attacked, Harrison started describing what was going on, and he said, "Oh yeah, women and children, they're all screaming. You see a child get flung out of the what was it?
Right. So,
no, but then he got sliced in half.
Yeah,
it was just instant brutality.
Yeah,
just like, fuck.
We started off serious, and then the ambush was like one of those where they didn't even see it coming. So we started off a bit stupid, right? Because I'm like, today is a day where the town is having a fair, and there are rides, there are games, things like this. And where would you guys be? And he's a trouble-causing raccoon, so he sped the whirly gig up, like, to make it go really fast. And I'm like, you do that, and he'd smashed it so hard that I was like, and you see a child sort of clinging on, getting and flung through the air, and then I cut away. And as the attack happens, I say, James, do you remember that child that was flying through the air? You suddenly see a cat appear from nowhere with a jagged sword and slice it in half, and he points at you and goes, "You next, you cunt."
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So it was just became deadly serious
in an instant.
Because I think
good.
That's the harrowing aspect.
But that does bring you back down a bit sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, especially like in games like Call of Cthulhu, where it's like that is a game that you kind of have to take it seriously.
Of course you do. But then also we left the bollock on a table with a little note. So you know,
but. Good move, even though it is really stupid.
It was scary.
It's a scary move. Seeing a bollock on a table, and
that's gonna
roll sanity.
We want the book back. Bollock.
But yeah, I think that unless we have anything more to add, I think that ultimately what we're saying is the main message is how to run a comedy game is either keep it in, or keep it very short. If it's pure stupidness.
If it's pure stupid, keep it short. And if it's going to be a campaign with some legs where you want a comedy aspect to it, then pepper it in.
Go for organic.
Let it grow itself. Rely on characters. Hopefully you've got a good.
Rely on the dice and the rolls and shit.
Yeah, and that too, exactly that. And also and then just a bit of just your
descriptors as well.
Yeah,
you know, if something has been serious for too long, then just say something in a bit of a more silly way.
Give someone a funny name, a funny voice.
You've got to use it sparingly and pepper it in, but also just let it come up organically, and also remember the tip: do it during downtime, so that players aren't compelled to be stupid when there's more serious shit going on.
And don't pressure them to crack jokes, because they will crack jokes themselves if they know they can.
And also
lol.
But yeah, comedy games, they can be good. Keep them short or keep it classy.
Yeah, that's it. Keep it classy.
If you've got any tips that we haven't mentioned,
please let us know. Yeah.
No, I don't,
because we want to be funny.
We're trying.
I would love. I'm really trying hard to be funny, right? So here's a joke for you.
Okay.
I tell my Spanish friends. No, I was just going to repeat the joke from the last episode. Forget it. Right. Well, you can call that a main subject and remain popular.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Should have shut up though. Right, should we do some electro? Should we go for a break?
Yeah.
Actually, should we let the listeners in on the break? We'll bring the mics with us.
Okay. Oh, they're not. Is the cable out?
They're wireless, aren't they, or something?
No, they're very much not.
Should we just record it on our phone?
Oh, forget it.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. You said that, right?
In the future, you will be able to send a letter or parcel from anywhere on the planet. This, sir, is the Electro Letter.
Let's go. Questions, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Electro Letters segment. If you can tell, I'm stalling for time because we've got questions from you.
Oh, yes.
So Lassie, has the first one. He says toad gargoyles or frog gargoyles.
Oh.
Wait, but what's the difference?
Well, toads are more warty.
Yeah.
And I also found out they don't jump. Frogs only jump. So.
Oh, mate, frogs.
It's got to be frogs.
Yeah,
frogs all the way. Because one of my favourite adventures of all time is obviously Croaking Fane for
Yeah.
DCC, which a bunch of has a frog orgy in it.
Yes,
Oh, it's the
man.
best.
Yes.
Best ever.
He follows up, seriously though, why do so many adventures have gargoyles with those two creatures specifically? I don't know if I've ever seen one.
Frog gargoyle.
Can we? What adventures, Brian?
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know because I want to play them. I don't know why so many have that, but it's probably because frogs are great, gargoyles are great,
Frogiles.
frogiles are even better.
It's just a no-brainer, isn't it?
The Buttman, he says, do you feel that 5e adventure books and settings have drifted far away from more Tolkien-esque old-school fantasy? If so, why? If not, why? But yeah, I reckon they have.
Yeah.
They must. Well, I saw a great video recently with Dungeon Craft, and he is comparing old school D&D art to new school D&D art. And it's like, in the old ones, right, you have like, I don't know, wizards and fucking fighters and that, like, fighting, getting killed, things like this. And then you look at like new D&D art, and it's more just here's what your character could be, and it's like a picture of a cat man striding through the woods.
Looking,
do you know what I mean?
looking resplendent. I believe it's because D&D wants to become more accessible to a wider audience, and in doing so, they've kind of.
But they shouldn't.
Distilled, they've diluted the game.
They've diluted it, so it's gone. It's less about adventuring, more about creating your Sonic OC in D&D. And I think Critical Role are very largely to blame for that, and other streaming people, because it's like people turn up to watch those Twitch streams to watch the characters chatting with each other. And it's like, well, so now it's more about like. Not about the adventure, surviving, death, things like this. It's more like
community.
Community. Buy a D&D t-shirt with the Pride logo on it. Thank you so much, Gary. No, he was one of the good ones. But I don't know. Like I definitely think they have veered very much away from Tolkien-esque fantasy, and for the worse, I think.
I think everyone's trying to get on a 2022 hype. You know what I mean? Like everyone's trying to be Gen Z appropriate and all this shit.
Yeah.
And it's just
Stranger Things came out again, and whenever they play a bit of D&D, everyone's like, "Oh, what's this game?"
Yeah, and then again, it's like. Maybe it comes from people that don't necessarily even know about typical fantasy tropes and things like this.
Yeah.
I don't know, but then the D&D game I ran couldn't have been further away from Tolkien-esque fantasy.
Very
so
true.
It's a direction I simultaneously like and hate, but it depends on the reasons for doing it.
Yeah.
It's like I've been inspired a lot by like things like Terry Pratchett, because what he does is he stays within the tropes but makes fun of them at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's fine, but what D&D has become is more, it's like a soap opera. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. About cat people and dog people and lizard men. And
trying to get along.
Sean sent a fucking image to the group the other day that was like D&D parties after 5 years of expansions, and it's like a lion man, an alien, and like it's just like I know that dwarves have been done to death, right? But at the end of the day, there's unique and interesting takes on them that you can do, and you know, Terry Pratchett's books are a very, very good example of that, where you know dwarves don't really look like men or women. But there's one who is a typical man but identifies as a woman, likes to wear makeup but also likes to fight and kill shit, and it's like a big beard. Cherry Littlebottom, I think is her name. Yeah. But like, there's loads of little things like that where it's like, well, the tropes are there because they prop up existing known things about the setting. But in addition to that, it's bucking those trends that can make for interesting characters. And then when you think about the fact that if there are no tropes or anything like this, and everyone can just be a lizard man with a fucking dark past, you know what I mean? It's like, well, now we've gone far away to the point where there are no sort of there's no iconography, there's no myths or legends behind it. And it's like, and what you've got is all the characters are essentially the same because there's some wacky race with a crazy backstory where they're really dark, and it's like, I don't know, like. Elves being smart is kind of a good trope because it leads to a lot of decent roleplay when you have, say for example, it's like this ever-evolved race of really, really smart people, but what's your reason for having left? Do you know what I mean? That's interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
But just bring back human rows with short shorts, all right? Because
that's what we like.
But yeah, Ace, he says, I just realised you guys were sponsored by Manscaped for a couple of episodes. I just watched this. He links a video and he says they slam Manscaped. What was your experience? Well, we're now fully out of that situation.
Oh, yeah.
So we did it to get the free things. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not fucking lying, mate. They contacted us and then we're just like, oh, that's good. We get the free things. Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, and do you know? I think there's never been, in the history of podcasting, a funny ad read that is actually funny.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, and we had to try it because they told us to.
Yeah. They said they would look at the sales and then be in touch, and they never did.
Well,
because we had no
because nobody used the code. But you know, it was I think ultimately what they do is like a scattergun approach, isn't it?
Yeah, of course they do.
Because there's no way that they were fans of this.
Well,
no.
I'm not sure I ever subscribed to them, but I probably because of the Manscaped tag. But now they've got Lawnmower 4.0 now.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the same fucking thing.
Same thing.
Probably.
It's
a very, very average trimmer. But I didn't have a trimmer, and now I've got one.
Yeah. So, and I use it for my beard. So
same.
All good. What about the pants?
I use it for what it's designed for all the time.
That's because James cannot grow facial hair, Nick.
Yeah, that's true. So
I'll just use it for my fucking ball sack.
For your gooseberries. The dangleberries. What did you do with the pants?
They're still in the pack.
I haven't worn them yet, but they're quite soft.
They are, but as a man that wears his trousers quite low, they are very slick and leads to a lot of like builder bum, basically.
Do they like hug the balls? Because they might be good for the gym.
They hug the they would be good for the gym. Yeah, 100%.
I should use them.
I have to say that the bag that it came with is a very, very good travel bag.
Yeah,
because it's leather.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I do use that. Yeah,
I use a travel bag just to store it in because I've already got my own one. But the
we
travel
actually
bag's
plugging it again. Huh? We should stop plugging it.
No, we're only plugging part of it.
Okay.
Overall, that package is not worth £100. No way in hell.
Yeah.
It's like that razor. So my wife got me a razor for Christmas, like a beard trimmer thing, and she bought it for like a tenner at Lidl, and it's just as good.
There you go.
So it's like I don't know. It's really, really not worth it. And what they're doing in order to sort of perpetuate their brand is creating a problem that doesn't really fucking exist. Because it's like ball deodorant. Well, why not just use regular fucking deodorant?
Well, yeah. Whoever even thought about that?
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. And then there's the other one that's like the ball toner. It's it's called cold shower. Like, and all, most of the stuff that you get in it is rubbish. But we wanted it because it was free.
It was free. Yeah.
And
now we've got shavers.
Now we've got razor and a nice travel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to be entirely negative about it because what they do is they just send it out to a bunch of podcasts and that's their marketing budget and they've promoted it, right?
Yeah.
It's a shit product, but it's allowing podcasters to make a bit of extra money, although I don't ever see the point in getting sponsors, not that we've ever been really offered, but it's because we've got a Patreon.
Yes.
And I think if a podcast already has a Patreon, I think it's a bit scummy to then also go buy a Lisa mattress. It's like, I've got a fucking mattress, shut up.
God. Yeah, just going to do another ad break.
But Lisa Mattress, if you want to sponsor us, get in touch.
Please do.
Simba,
please.
We're not bothered.
Put any of them. Helix.
Yeah.
Helix, Oxford.
We must be the only podcast in the world not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends as well.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so true, yeah.
That shows how small we really are.
And it's a fantasy game. I mean, come on, there's a bit of a link there.
Come on, I will even lie and say I've played it.
No,
so just sponsor us.
I've never played it.
No. But if they sponsor us,
maybe I did play it. If they sponsor,
maybe I would play it if they sent it to me for free with the console and TV to go with it.
Yes.
It's a mobile game, so
with the mobiles and
if we could have a new phone and lots of the, I
want to link it to a TV.
I want a Sony Ericsson Saturn, and I want Raid Shadow Legends installed on it,
please.
And I want to have the best character in the game.
I would like a Nokia N-Gage.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Sponsored by Nokia
N-Gage.
But yeah, so I don't really have a problem with podcasts doing that type of stuff. I don't really have a problem with Manscaped. They sell shitty products that are overpriced. But we live in that fucking generation where it's kids. Like a lot of children aspire to be YouTubers, and these YouTubers always have loads of money and spend it on crap, and that is who they're appealing to.
Yeah.
And if they're going to buy crap, might as well buy crap from anyone.
Yeah.
Helix Mattress, Honey, Raid Shadow Legends. But if any of these people sponsor us, they're actually great.
We love you.
Yeah.
Shameless.
Big York Rex,
Yeah.
he follows up this. I need pics from the crew showing off their manscaping. Please hold them up to the mics during the show. No, fuck you.
What, our balls?
Okay.
Well, they don't make a sound.
I'll just.
There you go. Yeah, my balls do not make a sound. If yours do, Yorkus, see a doctor.
Yes.
If your balls are constantly screaming.
Will you sit down?
Yeah, he every time he walks, he's like,
He sits down and goes,
I think he might have some sort of psychotic schizophrenia there.
Yeah.
His balls are like, shave me.
Please.
do it now.
Buy manscaped.com, use codes 3TRPG. No, don't use that code, it doesn't exist.
Probably
anymore.
don't exist.
It might exist. Try it out,
Try
but
it
don't
out.
buy it.
No, just donate to the fucking Patreon.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll send you my fucking Manscaped package.
My used
If
Manscaped.
you want my pants.
It's used, right, but my balls are clean.
Yeah.
If you donate £100 in any fashion, you will get a brand new, brand old Manscaped.
It's partially used.
Partially used.
Somewhere.
But you
Somewhere
also get
in
an
there.
exclusive 3T RPG
Pubic hair.
There you go. DNA sample.
Yeah, that's yours. You put it on eBay, probably get £2.99.
Get reported.
Kill Defences. He says, what is the best / most impressive post-apocalyptic system you've seen realised? Good use of language. Was it the best in your opinion due to the baked-in setting and lore, or the system's rules and options included?
Realise.
Mine is, I'll probably go Low Life because because it's so different. For those that haven't seen our Low Life review, it's essentially where every apocalypse that possibly could have happened probably did happen, and now you're playing sort of low forms of life. Like you might play Trash Being, Snot Man, alien called UFOs in this setting.
Yeah,
and it's
UFOs.
really weird. It's got religions, it's got fucking weird weapons, 9 fucking arcane backgrounds, a beautiful illustrated map and things like this, and also a lot of very good rules in it. But I think it's most impressive because of the setting.
Yeah. Yep.
I wonder if there are any out there that are really fucking good because of the rule set. Maybe the Year Zero system would be a good one.
MCC.
My Savage Fallout.
Ooh.
Yep, that's done really
that's
well.
fucking-
that is. And that's fucking.
Well, the
That's something that
Savage
Sean
Worlds-
goes back to consistently.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
very
the
good.
rules for Savage Worlds are great, but then they've made it feel like Fallout using those, like the radiation rules
Yeah,
are really fucking good in it.
100%.
The new edges and hindrances perfectly emulate the game. That's a very good answer. So yeah, that's a good
I think
one.
we've got top 4 there then, because they're all really good. So we've got MCC, we've got Low Life, we've got the Savage Fallout, and we've also got definitely Year Zero. That's a great.
Well, we've never
post-apocalyptic
played the main Year Zero, but the GenLab one,
GenLab.
technically still post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, absolutely.
and very, very good. Because a lot of that is, I feel like resources are very fucking annoying to do in games.
Yeah.
And I think GenLab, via the gear dice and things like this, really just sorts it perfectly.
Because you need it in that kind of environment, but it's a boring rule. But if you do it well,
If you do it well and simple,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
because when we played Alien, and the short stint we played Alien, like that for example, like you had like the usage dies and things like, and it's like it just deals with equipment in a slim fashion, and that's kind of what you want in a post-apocalyptic game.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's very few people actually emulate that well. Also, Mutant Year Zero has the base building in it, which is another sort of staple thing of these things, but people just usually hand wave it.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly,
Mutant Year Zero has actually rules for it.
Yeah,
in
it's
there, which is
complete
pretty
rules.
good.
Yeah, it's almost like downtime within the base, isn't it? Yeah.
He follows up though with bonus question: would you hunt and eat a cat, a dog, or Sean?
Sean. No.
First,
There'll be
in the
nothing
real,
on it.
no, but the rest of the scenario is it's in the real English wasteland, right? Food scarce.
Right.
Cat, dog, Sean. Sean is way too thin.
Yeah, dog, because cats are hard to track.
Yeah.
Dog because
no, dogs are loyal.
Yeah, which is easy because they come over to you.
You take a bite out of it, let it go on its way.
Off it goes.
Where it's got 2 heads and like 15 eyes.
Sean,
depends if it's a thick ass boy.
Sean, you got to explain why.
I think no, but do you though? Or do you just Sean, come over here a minute. Sean would be very easy to hunt, right?
Easy.
Because he is one of the most chill people on the planet. And it's like you're walking down the street, right? You hear a noise, like you know in Home Alone when that tool shed's going down the stairs. You hear that? You turn around. It's a man with every RPG thing he owns in a suitcase walking down the road. That's slowing him down. Bam! Shot with a gun. That's your dinner sword.
How would you trap him if you want to do an ambush?
Throw him into the suitcase.
I wouldn't even do that, mate. I just go, Sean, literally what you just said. Sean, come here a minute. And be like, yeah, all right. And then that's it.
Yeah. He's too trusting. That's his problem.
Hey, Sean, don't listen to this.
No. Sean
we're not going to eat you.
Sean is yet. Wait till the fucking apocalypse happens and we're coming for you, mate.
Different story.
We see that suitcase, we know we're firing.
We're after
yeah. Oh yeah.
Tasty.
But yeah, definitely. I think dog. But second choice would be Sean. Yeah,
definitely.
The Buttman follows up. He says, speaking of post-apocalypse, what is your preferred flavour of apocalypse and why? So I guess you've got like nuclear fallout. You've got zombie. Mm-hmm. You have got far-flung future where something has happened. It's a good question. Zombie, probably.
For me, I do love that kind of I Am Legend, exploring an old, busted-up world that's not too far after the event, but long enough that it's kind of
creepy.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's been some time has passed, but also there's a lot of nods to the old world. I love that.
But I guess I like the flavour I tend to read more are the ones where it's so far in the future the regular mundane technology has become like wondrous. And I think MCC's like that, like the treasures, cool. Like you can find a lighter and that's like a big fucking
amazing.
Deal. And you start off as like playing in tribes. Do you know what I mean?
I love that as well. And like ancient technology in air quotes is like like you said is there.
It's like a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's like the golden age.
I do quite like that because it lends itself to sort of it makes it kind of fantasy, even though it's not.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I think that's why
we played games like that, and we found a gun, and it was like the best weapon in the world, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was now.
But I think I lean towards that type because it also gives the writers carte blanche to do whatever the fuck they want.
Absolutely.
I like zombies a lot. But I don't know. But I've never run anything like that. Like I like watching zombie movies, and reading books and stuff. But it's like I don't know.
Well, that's more like a fear tactic, isn't it? With the zombies, you're just mostly scared because of the zombies. Whereas like nuclear, it's like it depends at what point you play it. But it's like everything. You're just scared about everything because you could get radiation or this. Whereas if you're talking about post-apocalyptic times in the far future, you're not scared about radiation per se. But
you're probably already are radiated,
and everything's just different, like not to what we're used to because it's so far in the future.
Because that's actually because I've run
different but not evolved.
Yes, tribal. Yeah. I like it when things have gone back to like tribal.
Because that's what we played that with the we played the MCC world using the fantasy characters after they left their world, which had blown up. The tribal thing was a lot of fun and. Yeah, I mean, and the cool thing is I used all of the mutation tables from MCC, and James, I remember your character just had a giant head. Yeah. Do you remember when I ran Fallout using the same one as well? And somebody got, I can't remember what it was, but Fatty Reservoir. And it was one of the characters, it was like a cowboy type, and we found an image of a fat cowboy and made a token out of it. To this day, that is still the logo for our private Discord. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, like Zombies are a very, very, very good one. And Powered by the Apocalypse actually for zombies is really good, especially how it does the combat because it's more cinematic. None of this fucking rolling for every zombie because you want to have overwhelming numbers.
Yeah, of course.
But in that, it's just all right. Soft move. 20 zombies are coming at you. What do you do? It's nice and easy. But it depends on the mood. But I reckon the whole far-flung future.
Cool.
That's my favourite.
Yeah. Agreed.
Cool.
For fuck's sake. The last question is the guy that, you've got to listen to all the episodes, mate. Lassie, he says, opinion on Mega Dungeons. We'll go and listen to the Mega Dungeons episode that I spent so much effort doing. Have a favourite you would like to play. I think we've fully said that there are very few Mega Dungeons out there, but my one, Stonehell, sounded really good. That was the one where there's this old prison that just got abandoned, and it was all monsters in there, and now they've created factions within the prison. So really Stonehell is probably the one.
And not Barrow Maze.
Not Barrow Maze. Stonehell, I think, is particularly good because it's light on story, and you kind of just add it in.
Yeah,
because are you really going to sit there reading fucking 200 rooms of a dungeon and like trying to remember them from memory?
No, definitely not.
No, Mega Dungeons mostly suck, but there are a few good examples. But the main ones that you hear about are shite. Fact.
I'm trying to find out what fucking episode number the Mega Dungeons was.
Yeah. Just Google it.
Just
Maybe
look.
we've never done it. No, we
No,
did
we
definitely
did.
do it.
It's
Mega
the
Dungeons.
definitive podcast about Mega Dungeons. That's a fact.
It's true. It's the
Gary
standard of
Gygax
opinion.
himself would probably like
He
it.
gave it a thumbs up.
Episode
He was buried that way.
Yeah.
86.
86. There you
Yeah,
go.
so listen
Main
to that,
episode,
or I'm going to find
86.
you and I'm going to 86 you.
All right.
Okay?
Here we are.
Okay.
That is it for questions, lads.
Good.
Sexy time.
Right.
I've got another question.
Go on.
Nick, when you coming back, man?
Bring it back. Bring it back.
To the table game.
Bring it
back
back
to me as soon as I can. So yeah, like I said, start a new job. Life's been a bit upside down, not in a good way, but a bit mental recently. But yeah, I'm hoping to work from home.
Everything's on the up.
Get exactly that and get back to
Right, this is
the
it.
table.
This is it. You are coming back
Yeah.
soon. Or Nick just threw a skull into the air. Or we will
Rape.
hunt you down. No, don't say
What, rape?
Ring the bell. That's the rape alarm.
It was. What I meant was. Yeah.
Rap.
Grapple.
No, rapping.
Rapping.
James is a convicted rappist.
Ooh.
He's a rapper.
No, I absolutely want to come back, and I also want to start doing, rather than trying to do a campaign, which takes time. And always constantly having to like kind of make sure you're on top of things. I think I'm going to change that format because I still want to do online games for you guys, but just do a one shot once a month.
Great idea.
Change it every time.
yeah.
Or maybe
So
something,
much easier
something with
to
a
prep.
looser format like
Yeah.
Destiny, where it's more player led.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because then when that date creeps up on you and you have to put the work in,
Exactly.
like, I know exactly how you feel. But yeah, that would be great.
So I'd like to do that, but no, absolutely. Yeah, I
can't wait to have you back.
Miss the hobby, mate.
Plus, we need another GM,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we need you back.
yeah, absolutely.
Right, shall we do the outro?
Yeah.
So fun fact, and I told James this, and I'm really hoping. So last episode, and I'm burying this in the outro for a good reason, right? Last episode, we did an episode all about death that happened.
Yeah.
That was completely fictional, and any likeness to real characters or people is completely coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened is that, and I'm just going to go back into that fictional world right now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's all a fantasy.
So the other day I had I had gastroenteritis.
Yep.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
And I was shitting out one end, shitting out the mouth, and then I was so dehydrated, and I had to go to the doctors, which is thankfully only down the road. Being that I was ill, I was in loungewear.
Yeah.
I was wearing my 3T RPG podcast
man.
T-shirt,
Good
right? And I went up to the doctors, and I was waiting for so long. I had to go down and ask the bloke on reception for a glass of water. He gave it to me. I went back up, and as I was leaving, literally propping myself up on the wall, sweating like a mad cunt, he goes, "Excuse me, I know it's a bad time, but." My son's just come home. I know this is a bad time, but is that podcast yours? And I was like, yeah, it is. And he's like, oh, I'm a listener.
Shut up.
And he goes, oh, and I help run the shop down the road, about which the podcast was about, fictionally, because it's not real at all.
Yeah, the podcast from the town that we used to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we actually didn't, because it's all fictional.
Yeah.
Anyway, my son is crying like a mad one, so let's just, James, do the socials and say goodbye. I've been Harrison Hunt. Goodbye.
Good. So socials, we've got the old email, that's freetrpgpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
Or you can head over to Patreon and sling us some money. Please sling us some money, because this man needs a haircut.
He needs a haircut desperately.
And of course, look at Drive-Thru RPG and check out all of the wicked cool products that we never put on there, but there are a few that
There's
are really
a few
cool.
on there, you know. There's
some good ones.
more
some
products
joke ones.
pending. You know,
Patent pending.
life.
No.
We're making Dungeons and Dragons 2.
Watch this space.
We'll have to just misspell it so that, you know, legal reasons.
Yeah,
Only
yeah.
Gygax will come after us.
Ooh,
Let's make another TSR.
Yeah.
Anyway,
TSR number 7.
Thanks for listening. Keep it classy. Good to see you, Nick.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Let's get together
And have a
feel
good
all
time.
right.
Oh, feel all right. And remember, D20s are cool.
But 20Ds.
No, that's a good day. Lol.
Do you remember who
Oh yeah, episode lol.
Episode lol. Do you remember who that? Who that? Who that? Bye.
Beast.